Hey guys, it's Michelle and I'm here for another episode of Hashtag Mornings with Michelle, and I am excited to talk with you about 4 questions you've got to ask when sales are down. And I'm specifically talking to you if you have experienced sales success. Things used to kind of fly off the shelves, even if they're digital shelves or proverbial shelves, and now you're kind of hitting a snag, and the sales are just not quite what they used to be. So that's what I'm talking about today. And the first thing that I want you to embrace right now, if sales are down for you, is that it is exactly your fault, right? Because as long as it's your fault, then you are free to be the solution. And so you just want to first embrace that if sales are down, it is absolutely your fault. That's the good news. It's the good news. It's the good news. So I want to talk and with you about 4 questions, 4 specific things that you need to look at in order to, get out of a sales funk, right? And the first thing is aligned with that truth that it's your fault, is when sales are lagging behind for any reason, we need to look at our own business behavior first, right? That's really important because any other assumption or direction delays responsibility and action. So if sales are lagging for you right now, ask yourself these tough questions, 4 of them, to see where you can pivot or shift or ramp up or whatever in order to see a huge sales increase. So again, this is all on your back, right? It's up to you to get your sales back in the right direction again. So the first question is, have you gotten lazy? Was something so easy to sell before that you've gotten lazy in pushing it? Or perhaps like you've gotten lazy on your own self-promotion and positioning. Maybe you've stopped doing something or a group of somethings that used to really move the needle before. I want you to look backwards and I want you to see how your own selling or marketing or showing up behavior may have changed, leading to even a slow fade in sales results, and you're just feeling it now. So look back and ask yourself the honest question, have I gotten lazy? And if you have, then I want you to write out exactly in what ways you feel like you might have gotten lazy, because that's where you want to start if you want to flip the switch on your sales again. The second question is, have you fallen out of love with what you are selling? Right? I wrote way back in, 2015 or something like that, about what love has to do with selling more of it. But if we're no longer excited about something, it's awfully hard to compel our market to fall in love with it. So dust off that program, offer, product, or service that you are trying to sell and you're complaining, Michelle, it's not selling like it used to. I want you to dust it off and look at it with fresh eyes. Can you fall back in love with it as is? Or is a makeover or update necessary for you to fall in love with it? Don't try to sell something that you're not really in love with. So the third question, so the first is, have I gotten lazy? The third is, have I fallen out of love with what I'm selling? The third question is it possible? Is it possible that you're sabotaging sales because you're overwhelmed, because you really don't feel like you have time for new clients or don't really want additional work? Listen, I have so been there, right? This is something very few business owners talk about. And I have been there more times than I want to admit or than I'd like to count. But many times I'd feel like my income is stalling, and I'd look back and I'd realize, especially when I was doing a lot more private work, I only had, the way I knew how to get big money was to get a new client. And if I was already overwhelmed, in my heart of hearts, like I didn't want a new client, right? New clients were work and I was already overworked. And so if this is you, if you feel like, you know what, that's me, I need more money, but I don't really want more clients, I don't really have time for more work or whatever. If this is the case for you, I need you to clear the decks, catch up, and start fresh. So if you are feeling like I need money, but I don't have time for more work, there's a few things you could do. The first thing is you really want to get out of a phase of overwhelm. So sometimes that's as easy as getting into action, clearing off your desk, or journaling your to-do list, right? So that you kind of have it out of your mind and onto paper, you can get to it later. But you really can't create from that place of being overwhelmed and overworked. And so you want to clear the decks, catch up, and so you can have a fresh kind of, page to start from. And then you want to think about a few things. So one, do you feel better about it now? And you can just go ahead and sell whatever you're going to sell, and you're not feeling overwhelmed by it. But if you are, think about ways that you can package your service or repackage what you sold in the past to give you a bump in income, give somebody tremendous value, but without putting a bunch of work on your plate, right? I just recently did a membership miracle program to train business owners how to create memberships. And one of my, the top things I learned from the membership miracle is what I called it, is one of the top things that I received from a membership-based business is the piece of being able to sell at any time and not increase the amount of work on my back. It's just been a beautiful little system. But if you're sabotaging sales because you're overwhelmed, you really feel like you don't have time for new clients, or you don't want the additional work, you need to really clear the decks, get some things off your mind and onto the page so you can start fresh and get creative about what to sell and how to sell it. The fourth question you want to ask if you are experiencing a sales lag is, have you somehow tainted your on-ramp or your lead generation techniques? Have you somehow tainted your on-ramp or your lead generation techniques? It's possible that you've changed something, right, about how you generate leads at the top of your sales funnel. And frankly, you may find yourself selling to the wrong people, right? You may find yourself selling to the wrong people. So if all of a sudden things seem to have dried up, people are either not opting into your list like they once did, or people are opting into your list and not converting like they once did. It's really important that you go back and just sort of without judgment, right? Don't judge them. Don't judge yourself, but go back and say, how can I make my on-ramp into my business a lot more attractive, a lot more engaging, a lot more compelling for the right person, right? And so those are the four things that you want to look at if you are experiencing a sales funk in your business, right? All of these are based on the premise that it is exactly your fault, right? And so we want to ask ourselves things that will point to behaviors that we can change so that we can move the needle of sales in our business. 1, have you gotten lazy? 2, have you fallen out of love with what you're selling? 3, is it possible you're sabotaging sales because you're overwhelmed? You don't really want a new client. You don't have time for them, and you don't really want additional work. And 4, have you somehow tainted or allowed yourself to kind of get comfy and cozy with the on-ramp and lead generation techniques in your business? So I hope this helps you guys. It is another episode of Mornings with Michelle. If you're watching the replay of this, then I appreciate you watching the replay. You can always put a comment in a question in the comments below, and I look forward to talking with you again soon. If you are a seriously driven woman entrepreneur, you have got to join our international alliance of super genius, super intimate, super authentic women entrepreneurs. Come join us at womenwhowow.com, and I'll talk with you soon. Bye.